Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to McKola TV. Apologies, we are late today. I've been a little bit busy. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But welcome to United Daily Live. We are back and we're back talking about Jack Grealish after we looked at the French reports yesterday that United were finalising a deal for Aston Villa's captain Jack Grealish. Today we look at Ornstein's report in The Athletic, or his comments on The Athletic, that Manchester United actually may not be in for Jack Grealish and may be targeting someone else in a different midfield position. So we'll be looking at those reports and what that potentially means for Manchester United, because surely that must mean that, who knows, is Paul Pogba staying at Manchester United? Does that mean he is? Sorry, my alarm's going off here telling me that I need to be live on McKola TV right now. But does that mean that Paul Pogba is staying at Manchester United? Is that all but confirmation now that we hear a very reliable source in David Ornstein saying that United are no longer in for Jack Grealish? So we'll be looking at those reports surrounding Jack Grealish and how you feel about them, whether you're happy about them or not. So get your thoughts in on Jack Grealish, Paul Pogba and any potential involving that. And then, of course, we'll be looking at everything else. You wait for a pencil in a date of August the 26th for the Europa League final. United are still in the Europa League. Will we be playing in that final? Will that final be going ahead on that date? What's going on with football? No one knows right now. There's reports that the Reds are leading the way as well in the chase for Jude Bellingham. Now, there's been contrary reports in regards to his future. He's met up with Borussia Dortmund. He's met up with Manchester United. I'm sure his family and his agent, his father, has spoken to a lot of different clubs. Will he be coming into Manchester United next season? And could he be the alternative to that Jack Grealish signing in midfield that we could be possibly about to sign? Because we know as well he can play a little bit more defensively in midfield. So we'll be looking at those reports as well. And more additional reports on Jadon Sancho and anything else you guys want to talk about. So get your comments in right now on McKola TV. Young Toenails in the comments. What a name. Kimario, Al Harrington, Andrew, Maya, Timothy, Hussein, Ramu, DJ. Loads of people in the comments. So thank you very, very much for joining us. And Al's commenting on that August the 26th date saying, how late is that? And we'll talk about that a little bit later, because I don't think that date is actually going to be met by UEFA. I don't think we're going to get any football in the next couple of months. So how the hell are we going to finish the Europa League by August? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But what we've got to see is these organisations, these leagues, these big companies are being, you know, they've got to look after themselves in terms of financially, and they've got to look at where the money is, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to see where that money is, and whilst they're doing that, they're going to have to try and see how can we keep football going? How can we maintain that the season is completed? Because that's how they will get most of their money. So they've got to look at that. They've got to. Could be contract negotiation bluff, says Ben H. Riazat's catching us live after ages. Aiden says he never really wanted Grealish, if he's honest. And Man United Caribbean's in the comments as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Anu Raj says, why not go for a defensive playmaker? And we'll be looking a little bit at those reports. Now, let me get up the full comments from David Ornstein yesterday in regards to Jack Grealish. He was asked a question on his blog in regards to Jadon Sancho and in regards to Jack Grealish. Now, we'll look at the Jack Grealish one first. He said, some contacts tell me United are not in for Grealish and are focusing more on a holding midfielder than this kind of position. In a normal market, I think Villa would have been looking for around 40 to 50 million pounds if they got relegated, up to 90 million pounds if they stayed up, but it's not a normal market now. He will be keen for a big move, whether it's this summer or very soon. Not sure if his lockdown misdemeanor will go down with potential suitors or Gareth Southgate. Now, I don't think that misdemeanor on lockdown will have much of an issue in terms of Manchester United and in terms of us going forward if we wanted to sign him. I don't think we would have had much of an issue in terms of that. But Paul Pogba's future is a sticking point. If we keep Paul Pogba, do we have time or space or money to bring in Jack Grealish? We'll discuss that very, very soon. First things first, can I thank Timothy Walsh for joining McKola TV and becoming a member of the channel today. Thank you very much, Timothy. Really do appreciate just seeing it pop up there in the live chat. So thank you very much. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is AMTV membership? What is supporting AMTV? Well, you can become a member of the channel. You click join, become a member. You get exclusive monthly content. You get bonus stuff, emojis, avatars, and all that kind of stuff in the chat. You can join us over on the Discord forum where we have loads of little stuff going on. You can get your questions in for videos. You can get your topics in for videos, questions in for interviews, things like that. And you're helping support the channel in terms of us boosting the content, what we're going to do. You already have daily content. That's free. That's always going to be free. All you have to do is hit subscribe for that. But you will get bonus extras and exclusive content on a monthly basis as well for joining and supporting the channel. So thank you very much for Timothy Walsh for doing that. Does this mean Pogba stays, says Cameron Slash? And that's what I want to look at, because I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, since we've been regularly doing these videos on Adam McKola TV, and actually whenever I've been asked about Jack Grealish, I'll say I want Jack Grealish at Manchester United. United need to sign this guy. We need to sign Jack Grealish. I think he's a fantastic player. I still think we could fit him into the team, even if Pogba does stay, because there's nothing wrong with having that depth. There's nothing wrong with having quality and, you know, in depth. Look at City. Look at Barcelona. Look at all these teams that have been winning trophies over the last couple of years. They have quality in depth, and United just don't have that. Bringing in someone like Grealish would allow us to have that. We'd have depth on the left, on the right, in the central attacking midfield positions. We'd have a lot of depth everywhere, and he'd be a player that could also hold his own in the starting 11. I think he's a fantastic baller. But if Paul Pogba stays at Manchester United, where do we then have the budget to sign Jack Grealish? Because if you look at things, we need a right winger. We need a right winger. So we're going to spend 100 million on Jadon Sancho probably. That's most of our budget already gone. If we spend another 15, 20 million on Igalo, again, most of our budget is gone. We recoup a little bit of money, maybe the money for Igalo in selling Smalling. We recoup another 10 million, 15 million selling Rojo and Jones. What have we got? Like, we don't spend fast, like we don't spend 200, 300 million pound a summer, which we would need to bring in Jack Grealish if we don't sell Paul Pogba. Now, all the talk recently and all the signs seem to be Paul Pogba staying at Manchester United. Juventus seemingly can't afford him. Real Madrid seemingly can't afford him. And it's all up in the air at the moment when the transfer window is going to be, what clubs can offer for him, whether they can offer anything for him at all, what kind of wages they'll be able to offer him. And actually, Paul Pogba may be looking at United and thinking, this is the place where I need to be. Look, they're building a team which is getting better and can hopefully go on and improve in the future. If you look at the likes of Jadon Sancho, which could be potentially coming in, we'd have a fantastic front three there. We'd need some depth. You've got Greenwood coming through. If you build that midfielder behind Pogba and Bruno, you've got a solid midfield there. And behind them at the moment, we've got Fred, McTominay and Matic. It's not that bad at the minute either. Still think we need to improve there. And that's why I think a good sign of what David Ornstein said is we'd focus on that defensive midfield position, because I actually think Matic has done well recently, yes. McTominay has done very well recently, yes. Fred has done very well recently, yes. But they're not natural, well, Matic is, but those other two aren't naturally defensive midfielders. And with that in mind, you have to say, like, okay, these aren't naturally defensive midfielders. They can provide something in the team, and at home maybe they can play in that holding role. But away from home, would you be confident going up against Man City with McTominay on their own in that DM position, or Fred? You have to then sacrifice another one. So we have to improve that area, in my opinion. Giving a deal to Nemanja Matic could be a bad thing in the long run if his form does take a dip in the next season, which it could do because of the age he's at. So the report from Ornstein is actually, while it's a negative that United aren't in for Jack Grealish and may not be looking to sign him, again, like someone has said, it could be negotiation tactics. While that is the case, to hear that we're actually focusing more on a holding midfielder could be more sensible and bring more balance to the team, and it could mean a whole lot in terms of Paul Pogba's future and Paul Pogba staying at United. I really think this is hinting at that. It's not confirmed yet. We still have to wait to see what happens, but it's looking like Pogba might be staying, guys, I gotta say. It looks that way. Don't want to get you too carried away, but who knows? Kimario says, will Jack want to sit on the bench? Maya says, Adam, would you be happy if we only got Sancho and Pogba Stays? If we kept Ighalo, I'd be worried about that defensive midfield position, but I'd be pretty confident in the team going forward in terms of us improving on this season. I'm not saying we'd win the league or anything, but we'd be a lot better. If you've got Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, Marshall, Greenwood, McTominay, Fred, Matic, if you've got all those players there, that's something to build on. That's something to build on. A better squad is priority over everything, says Sam. Timothy Walsh says, I want Pogba to stay. He's our best player, but he needs to be committed. His agent and brothers need to shut it. What are your top 3 targets for the summer, Adam? In order. Top 3 targets for the summer in order. Jadon Sancho would be first, because I think that right wing position needs to be filled. It's needed to be filled for a long time. That's no slight on Daniel James. I think he did really well at the start of the season, and I think he's shown he can be a valuable member of the team. But I do think we need a bit more quality out there on the wings and definitely on that right hand side. You have Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right. You're doing something right. So I'd have Jadon Sancho first. Second choice would be someone like a Thomas Partey. We probably won't get Thomas Partey, but him in that defensive midfield position or someone like that would be quality for United. You can get him for £50 million, £40 million because of his release clause. So if you brought him in, you're on to a winner. So once you've got those two, I'd then say my third choice would be Jack Grealish, because from a personal perspective, I think you can still go forward. But like I said, I don't think United are going to be spending that much money, and I think it'll just be Jadon Sancho, Ighalo, and maybe one more. Matty says Matic's form took a dip before and it could easily happen again. Then we would be weak at central defensive midfield. That's a filthy lineup, says P Savage, which is the one we mentioned before. That front three with Greenwood knocking about as well. Oh my days, it could be perfect. FC United Forever says there's no money, Adam. Financial reports prove that. So how peeps continue to think and believe every single transfer market the club is going to spend XXX millions and sign loads of players. Yeah, they're looking to, like, if you look at last summer as well, the way we waited in terms of Maguire and Lukaku deals, there's a clear sign there that we're not spending as much as some would like to think we would, or we will be. So yeah, I totally understand that point. Viva Ighalo, says Anshesh. Yeah, the link for those is in the description as well if anybody is interested. Tried to add it to the YouTube thing, but YouTube didn't let me. I don't know what I'm doing on that front. Any news on Jadon? Ornstein said yesterday he'd like to go to a Champions League club. Yes, so let's have a look at what Ornstein said in regards to that. It was in the same Q&A where he made the comment in regards to Jack Grealish. So he said, I know United are keen on Sancho, and before the shutdown they were very much among the clubs in the mix and holding conversations. What happens now is anybody's guess, because we think the asking price will be around 120 million euros, which is around 100 million pounds. And will United pay that? Does he want to go there? I think he's open to it, but my understanding is he wants to join a club who are playing in the Champions League next season, and we don't know if United will be. United were also preparing an offer for a striker before the lockdown, not sure who, and the idea was if he ended up signing, Ighalo would return to China. COVID-19 has thrown everything up in the air, so we don't know how things will pan out. So there's two things there. United are keen on Sancho. Sancho is open to a move, but he wants to play in the Champions League. That could prove to be a sticking point. United could be in the Champions League. Who knows what happens with the season, finishing the Europa League, all that kind of stuff. But as of now, we're not in the Champions League. So will that prove to be an issue for Jadon Sancho? I actually think probably not. But when you hear those reports, it's something that you have to take into consideration, especially when they're coming from someone like Ornstein. And then you look at the last bit in regards to a striker. United being interested in a striker just before this all happened, and potentially if he came in, Ighalo wouldn't have stayed. Now, that's gone quiet, he says, but when you look at that, maybe that something rings true then to, you know, Ighalo not being offered a deal, not potentially staying at United. potentially returning and leaving on the May the 31st. Who is that striker? Who is it? I genuinely don't know. But it'd be interesting. Could it be? Me and Steve just did a video and I guessed it was Aubameyang, but genuinely don't know who it is. Al says 120 million euros is 97 million pounds. We could get Dortmund to about 90 million plus small add-ons like Pogba under the current climate. If you want to see that Howson video we did together, it's on Paddock soon. Afternoon, Adam. How are you and the family today? Aaron, all good. Thank you very much, mate. Today, I went to a corona testing drive-through place. So, not me. I didn't get a test. I don't need a test. So, we went to this place. There. Which is like a corona testing drive-through. My mum and my brother work in a care home. So because they work there, they need to be tested. So I had to take them because I live with them. Didn't pick them up to take them, and we had to go through that drive-through. So that was interesting. I was there for about an hour. That's why United Daily Live wasn't at 12 o'clock today. So yeah, a little bit of insight into my morning, but we're all good, thank you. Hopefully those tests come back okay, and everyone's all right. Who wants our deadwood is a problem, says Diggy Duck. Well, at the moment, we've not got much left, have we? We have got rid of a fair bit. I know Darmian's out on loan. Rojo's out on loan, but they'll probably still... permanent deals will continue to be loaned out. Alexis Sanchez needs to be gotten rid of, but... Smalling and Jones, there's rumours there's suitors there. Potentially. Especially when you look at Newcastle could be going to go in a takeover. So if that happens, they'll probably fling 50 million at us for Phil Jones. We'll have to get my video trending again where it says United and England captain Phil Jones. Maybe they will give us 50 million for him. So Smalling and Jones, I imagine, will go. Jesse Lingard might have a few suitors. Whether we want to sell him or not, I don't know what's happening there. But there's always that possibility. Andres Pereira, you know, he always had Spanish clubs interested in him. Would a Sanchez-Igualo swap be possible, do you think? Or am I just dreaming, says Maya. It's not a bad dream, but I think it is a dream. I don't think it's going to happen. Shanghai won't want to pay his wages, surely not. And does Sanchez want to go there? If Bellingham is hypothetically a first team player at United at 16, what does that mean for Garner, Levitt, Gomez? I do think United are obsessed with this new toy theory, says Junior. Sal Niguez, if not Grealish, says Joe Cox. Just don't see that one happening for some reason. I'd love to be surprised. But I just don't get it. Do you think the board might just pay off Sanchez? I don't think we'd pay off his full wage, James. I think it could potentially be a case where we pay a percentage of his wages in a deal where he leaves. So we end up giving him a lump payment, you know, like 2-3 mil to leave or something like that. I can see us paying a percentage for him to be on loan, but not just paying everything for him to leave. Have a good day, rest of the day back at work, FC United forever, mate. Stay safe and sexy, as you've commented there. We ain't buying Phil Jones, says Mark, who's our resident Newcastle fan. Do you think Pogba being in more social media videos could be a sign he's signing, considering he very rarely was on it, same with Angel? I have considered this. You're not on your own, mate. I have considered it. Ultimately, in football, players have obligations and they have to fulfill certain requirements in their contracts, and it may just be a case because everyone's cooped up at home. It's easy for them to do these kind of things, and you know, Paul Pogba has to fulfill these obligations in order to get his pay every week. There's always that possibility, but yes, I have thought that too, especially with Angel Gomez when that first came around. And on a bigger scale with Paul Pogba, but I still wouldn't be surprised to see him leave. But when you're hearing things like Ornstein coming out and saying United are not in for Grealish, or you know, when you're hearing these kind of things, it's difficult not to think he's staying, because everything, like at the moment, 2 and 2 seemingly adding up to 4, but I could have miscalculated and it might have got 5. So just have to see how this one goes, really. But I think the Jack Grealish story could be a definite pointer towards Paul Pogba actually staying. Thank you to Timothy Walsh for being our latest new member on Adam McKola TV once again today. He has joined today. As you I can see, it says one new member. I don't know if you use that card. If you want to join, click that join button. I've seen someone say they couldn't do it. Not sure what the issue is there, but if you want to chuck us a message later, I'll see if I can help you. If you can't join, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We're very, very close to 70,000. We've had loads of new viewers, loads of new commenters, loads of new people getting involved recently. So thank you very much to you guys, and thank you very much to the regulars. Anches is loving the pod to nowhere. That's the new Sunday video with me and Steve every single Sunday at 8 p.m. We have every single day United Daily Live at 12 o'clock BST. Now today, this one was a little bit later because I was busy, but from the future, it's 12 o'clock every single day, apart from Mondays when it comes on a little later because Premier League Gazette is at 5. Today, later on, we got Straight Up MUFC, which with me and Dean, which we're filming straight after this. And if you head over to the community section, the members can get in their topics for that video, which we'll do as well. And then tomorrow, we got the FIFA video. It's the head-to-head between me and Foot FG. It was a best of 3 head-to-head. His Man City's YouTuber. I'm just a Man United fan. We went to head-to-head in a best of 3. That was pretty cool. And then Sunday, like was said, is the pod to nowhere. Grealish number 11 at the theatre next season is something I pray we see regardless of Pogba's future. I hope you're right, mate. I really do hope you are right. Are there any other stories that I have missed out on? So we know Jadon Sancho still might want Champions League football for the move in the next window. That's a possibility. We also know that Jack Grealish, Ornstein saying United may not be in for him. We may be going for a holding midfielder instead. UEFA have penciled in August the 26th as a possible date for the Europa League final. We know that. What else are we knowing? Reports United are leading the way in the chase for Jude Bellingham. We've heard that too. We've got Wrestle India back in the comments. And Shesh, drop wherever you DM me. I'll have a look in a bit when I've finished. Straight after this, I'm filming Straight Up and then I'll have a look at it after that. Why is no one talking about replacing Lindelof? I think we could replace Lindelof from within the team. I can't see us replacing Lindelof with a brand new signing. I can see him like falling behind maybe Eric Bailly in the pecking order, Twanzebe, whoever, but I can't see him leaving or anything like that. Are the fan camps pre-arranged or do you let people come up to you and ask to do one? Both. So I'll obviously tell, like Steve will know to come and see me because me and Steve talk to each other regularly. But most people it's just organic, and then they'll even know where we are, so they'll come every single time, so they'll be on every single week. Away days are more a little bit where I'll message more people, because on away days there's less people there. It's a lot more difficult with policing and things like that, and it's always easier to have 1 or 2 arranged, just in case something kicks off outside the ground, the police are getting involved, everything stops. Because in away games, after 15-20 minutes, fans are gone. Home games, less so. We'll rely on footfall and everything like that. But yeah, people just come up to us random, get involved, and tend to keep coming back. That's how a lot of them have started. Who do you want us to sell this summer? Jones, Smalling, Rojo, possibly. Pereira's a possibility. Lingard's a possibility. I don't want us to be selling them, but it is a possibility. Owen, thank you for the recommendation, mate. Nothing wrong with a bit of fanny. Yes, P, make sure you come down. So is the plan to finish this season. Who knows what the plan is? Who knows what the plan is? We had the Brighton chief exec talking the other day about how there's just the need to get some kind of finality to it all. Can you imagine just sitting at home not knowing when you're going to be back to training, when you're going to be back to work? Like, I know that's the case for all of us, but with this football season, you kind of just need, alright, is it going to be done? Is it done? Is it ended? Or are we going to do it? I think you need to get to a point where you know if it's not happening by this date, it's not happening at all. And at the moment, we're not in that position. Maya said, I've been watching Bruno's interviews and I love how he calls United Manchester like there's only truly one team in Manchester. I remember Ronaldo came, he did that. A lot of people that aren't from England do that because United would have been the only team that they knew of, so they'd just call them Manchester. I remember we did a video in America in 2015, 14-15 when we went there on the pre-season tour. And we did a video for Full Time Devils where we genuinely asked people if they knew who Man City were. Americans, and they didn't have a clue who Manchester City were. And it weren't set up, me saying, oh, say you don't know who they are, ha ha ha, really funny. It was genuine. There was 1 or 2 people that out of like 50 of them that we asked, and you'd say, oh, and a lot of them would go, Man United. It's funny. Ilya thinks we should sell Jones, Andreas, Lingard, Matic and Rojo. United can get decent amount of money for Dalot and use Laird as second choice. Anuraj has been linked with a move to Spurs as well. Jose Mourinho was linked with a raid on Manchester United, which was interesting. So there's always that possibility, but I wouldn't go doing Jose any favours and selling him a player. I hope Sancho deals happens and Grealish. We'd have an awesome team even if Pogba leaves, says Ines. And just to recap, the Ornstein report in regards to Jack Grealish was that United are not in for him, and that we could potentially chase him after a holding midfielder instead, which again points to, in my opinion, Paul Pogba having a future at Manchester United. But I'm sure the story regarding Jack Grealish, the story regarding Paul Pogba, the story regarding all of these players will rumble on and on and on, and I'll keep you covered here on every single last one of them on Adam McKola TV. So guys, make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, keeping it locked to Adam McKola TV. Join as well if you can, but if you can't, just make sure you're liking and subscribing and getting involved, because that counts as well. I'm heading off for now. I'm going to go film Straight Up with Straight Up D. You can subscribe to Straight Up in the link in the description. Straight Up MUFC will be uploaded a little bit later on tonight. Thank you for tuning in to United Daily Live. Back tomorrow at 12. Until then, I've been Adam McKola. I'm out of here.